Yo, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy Rush. I'm in the building with a dope panel along with my co-host. Promote my side hustle, Rush Enterprise. If you're in the state of New Jersey, you need armed guards or unarmed guards, call up my business line and I line it up. The bigger the contract, the more money we make together, you heard? Yeah, man, today we about to expound on something kind of spicy today. Nah, man, we gonna get it poppin', you heard? Yo, salute to y'all. What's
Salute. We got the Justice League in the building.
What's good, y'all?
chilling? Yo, today we're gonna expound on 6ix9ine, possibly digging the guts inside of Ayesha Curry, and yeah, like the main question would be is like, yo, do y'all really think 6ix9ine smashed Ayesha Curry? And if so, let's talk about it.
You want to go first, famous?
I don't. I think it's possible, but I gotta have more proof to believe it. I think it's possible though, but I need some receipts for that.
I'm gonna say no, man. Not Takashi. Now, if you would have said like Drake, when she had that picture where she was in like leather boy shorts and shit, some
Yeah,
lingerie, I would have been like Drake. Yeah, he could smash it because it seemed like she liked them cleaner cut dudes. But yeah, Takashi, nah. Yeah, I don't believe that.
they say opposites attract though. You never know. Sometimes those good girls, those good, the girls with the good image, they be going for those bad boys, those tatted up,
Nah,
So
definitely. But
that,
I think she messed up in the whole situation, man, because the issue is like when she kind of presented herself out there bad and she taking swipes kind of at like Seth, it leave the
yeah,
door open for like rumors to kind of
yeah.
start and stuff. So like Fame said, it's just like, man, based on how she kind of been acting, it's just like, man, you can't totally just say no, because of her behavior.
Yeah, for all the stuff that she put out there, it makes people believe it, even though it's not true. Let's say it's not true. It's gonna make people think it. It's a possibility because all of the stuff she put out there and tainted her image a little bit. So, yeah, but I need more receipts to you know for me to say it's true. I don't think she did, but it's possible. You froze, Russ?
Rush over there
He-
struggle streaming. Shout out to Rush.
I know, right?
yeah, he over there like he's flabbergasted or something.
Rush over there with Fubu Wireless.
Yeah, he got
Hyperfocus.
that Boost Mobile. He got the Boost Mobile joint. You remember the old chirp phone? That's what the Russ is on that.
Yeah, he got dropped. But let me ask you, famous man.
Go
Do you
ahead.
think? Because I know we like possibly maybe Takashi, but do you
hmm
think, man, she got smashed by somebody else, man, just based on her behavior? Do you think somebody else slid through?
Damn, it's hard to say with her, man. She's a complicated case study, man. It's possible. I think she really wants to. I think eventually. I think it's inevitable. I think it's gonna happen eventually, but I don't think she did yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
I don't think she did yet,
That's interesting that you say it's
but I think
inevitable.
it's
What
coming.
makes you think it's inevitable?
There's levels to it. But she put herself out there so much for people to believe it's true. That's why you never do what she's doing, man. Go out here on this bash death tour.
So basically, you don't think that a woman should speak negatively about her spouse or her person in general? Like,
Hell no, not in public. I don't think a man should do it either, though. To be fair,
Yeah,
I don't think either party should be airing out dirty laundry out in public.
Yeah, that should stay in your house. That should stay in your home. You should never yeah, cause you invite this type of information to and this type of attention to get out there and people to believe it.
Well, they
And you don't
say
want the
all
public in your
publicity
business and
is
your relationship like that.
well, they say all publicity is good publicity. It keeps them relevant, but not necessarily in their business because maybe they're not. Maybe people
I don't
aren't
know
really
where Russ at. You
listening.
might as well let's do this stream by ourselves, Russ.
But Dr. Jefferson Brown, because I don't, man, the type of money that they got in the businesses they set up, I don't think they need that type of publicity. You know what I'm saying? If they were something like B, C listers, and they didn't have that type of bread, I'll agree with you. That they was like Ray J in them. That would make
Well,
sense. But
see,
oh, go ahead.
they have the kind of and that's the thing. I think a lot of folks have
Yo, this being
learned.
crazy. I can't even hear nobody. I'm gonna go. Let me go.
I think a lot of people have learned about Ray J's financial situation in the aftermath of his reality kind of coming out and him kind of giving more and more depth. But you never know what their financial situation kind of looks like because they get endorsements and all of these things, and then they have these bills that come as a result of promised money looking like it's going to come through, and they go and get these big houses and cars, and that Lux life comes with a Lux price tag.
Okay.
So
That's
when
a
you
good point.
start seeing them die down in the media and there's less relevance, then sometimes they're just doing that as a publicity stunt. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility. But I think his net worth is, them NBA players, they be getting like 50 million a year. So it's almost impossible to somewhat fumble. Well, there've been a
Yeah.
couple players, Antoine
Yeah.
Walker. So you're right.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, it ain't
I had to correct
impossible.
myself.
It's not. It's not impossible. It's how they manage their money, and a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of the
facts.
NBA players aren't necessarily. And I will say, Steph comes from a background to where he's been taught to manage money, but there is there are some questions about whether or not that dynamic holds in their marriage as a whole. You know.
But Dr. Jefferson Brown, you was giving a little bit of pushback to the homie Famous, where he was like, "It's inevitable." You don't think it's inevitable? You don't think it's going down that path based on what she's saying out in public?
So that's why I was asking him what he felt was, the justification for it to be inevitable. So
Oh,
you think it's based on what she's saying in public? That's what you're saying, Fame?
oh yeah. I think based on what she's saying in public, I think she really feels deep down inside. It sounds like she wants to venture off. I think she wants to bad. I think right now she's not brave enough to do it because public perception of her, whatever. She don't want to fully go there right now. But I think it's really in her to do it, and she really wants to step out. But I don't think she's doing it because her image.
Real quick, hey Fame, you think almost to a certain degree? Because I like what you're saying. That's why I'm glad y'all circled back on it. You think she damn near wants him to break up with her, so maybe she could take the
That,
victim side, be like, "Hey man, he left me. Now I'm for these streets. She about to hug them streets."
that could play a part too. That's part of it. I think that's part of it too.
Dr.
And I think
Jefferson Brown, are we off base?
Yeah, I don't think 6ix9ine smash. That video clip that's going viral. It's been edited, but I do think she did step out though. And remember how we expound on girls trip? Her girls trip was going to Toronto to go see Drake. So I think it's a high probability that Drake might have flied up in the guts. I mean,
yeah. Oh,
So
Russ, I didn't even know that. That was on a girls trip when she
I
went to
was
go
just
see
about
Drake.
to say, I can't with y'all. So early from the earlier dynamic, yeah, you guys aren't necessarily off base, but what I'm saying is like, and a trip doesn't justify a person having sex with somebody. Like you can be a fan of a,
Nah.
musician and not have sex. What you doing? What you doing with that, Rush? Where we going? Can't go on a girls trip.
Hell nah,
Hell no.
Dr. Jefferson Brown, man. I'm gonna put some respect on your name. You
of
got the
course not.
doctor in there. You done. We can't play that, Dr. Jefferson Brown. We know what's going on them girls trips.
What's
Yeah,
going on?
Come on, man. We all know when women go on girls trip, a lot of, you know what I mean, a lot of things be going down. You know what I mean, and plus she's out there on the podcast proclaiming that, hey man, she want to get male attention, other than Steph. So this is why we all speculating. Yeah, it's a high probability that she done stepped out, man. Know what I mean,
Yeah, it's a lot of red flags, not just one. It's all combined together, mixed with the girls trip. That's the problem.
Okay, so you don't think that there's a possibility, and I'm just throwing it out here, okay? Floating possibilities. You don't think that it's possible that she could want other male attention and she could be, letting these people know, hey, it's okay to actually establish a relationship with me just in case something falls, through with this relationship. That's not okay. If she's on the fence or if she's leaning out, if they're mutually leaning out.
I definitely don't think it's mutual. I think it's just on her end. Steph looks pretty happy to me. I don't think he's trying to venture off or lead the relationship at all.
See, that's interesting, right? So we know that in relationships, essentially, people are the happiest when they're having affairs, clinically
Not
speaking.
necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. You said they're happiest when they're having affairs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe happiest with the other person, but I don't think they're happy in their relationship because they wouldn't be having an affair if they was happy in their relationship.
Okay, let me explain how it works. People, we're systems. We're collections of systems individually and collectively, right? So when you are with that one person and things are misaligned, like you're not getting your needs met, et cetera, et cetera. Happiness isn't just something that is disturbed on just a continuum of in your relationship, but it's within you. So you show up differently for the relationship. So when you start having an affair, you show up differently for your relationship as well. So your overall happiness improves. As a result of that, you start showing up differently. But also there's a guilt construct, especially if your marriage is in public, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the reason people start showing up a lot heavier for their spouses. And it's like, well, aren't you ready to go or leave this relationship? But they're like conflicted because it's this guilt construct, but it's also this element of, well, I deserve happiness, right? And I'm finding happiness right here. And it looks like this. And I'm okay because both of them are going pretty well. The stability in the relationship, primary relationship, starts to stabilize because you start showing up differently. You're in a better mood. As a result, the person that's connected to you starts to feel like they're doing good. They start to actually do better in the relationship. So your relationship actually improves over the course of time. Like it's a thing. I don't know how to better kind of break it down and like so it's
Nah, I think
quickly
you did a
absorbed,
good breakdown.
by you guys. But like that's the systemic explanation as to how it is that relational betrayal kind of starts to happen.
Yeah, but I don't think it. I think it's like a short term adrenaline rush where, like you said, I could see them being happy while they're creeping around and stuff. But I think eventually, it's gonna crash. So it's like one of those sugar highs where it's all
Yeah.
good in that moment, but then when everything starts crashing, because typically the person, like, just for example, say like if Aisha's out there stepping around, that dude ain't really trying to have no relations with her. He's just knocking it down. He's cool with being a side dude, and he got a story to tell his friends. So I think once people realize the kind of position that they put themselves in, I think that's when stuff blows out.
Yeah, I agree. She said Dr. Jefferson, you said it. You explained it so correct because that does happen in some cases when women. I think it's short term. I think it's more excitement than happiness. More
There you go,
excitement for
excitement. That's what.
yeah, for the thrill of stepping out and stuff. But I don't really think they're happy in their relationship. I think it's a temporary fix until it all comes down crashing, like Sophisticated Jerk said. But you are right because there's some girls they'll show extra love when they're cheating, but it's just the act. I think it's just the overcompensate for them feeling guilty.
It's kind of like that, but not necessarily overcompensate. It's a knee jerk response. Innately, people aren't. People are very complex in the way that we are geared up. Like, and we're even our initial conditioning and responses to family of origin, systems of origin. Now, and it could be you guys are looking at the secondary response. So you wouldn't see the person who's the primary adulteress. So that would, in this case, be Steph. You wouldn't see whatever is going on there. And you got to keep in mind, like, affairs happen on a relational, emotional level and a relational physical level, right? So he could be emotionally betraying her. It's a lot of things that could be going on. What I'm saying is her putting this stuff out in the public, that looks more from a systemic lens, it looks more like a retaliatory thing against the spouse that you caught cheating.
Nah, you trying to give her a pass.
Yeah, but
No,
the only
not
thing
giving her
about
a
that,
pass.
She just
the only
reckless
Not
with
giving
it.
her a
She
pass. Not giving her a
she
yeah,
pass.
bored with
What I'm
homie.
saying, no,
Oh,
what
go
I'm
but
ahead.
saying
oh,
is like there are. So what I'm saying is there is a mathematical equation to the behaviors of human beings. Okay, like it just is. Okay, that's and I'm a dual licensed doctor. Okay, so it's just people are so predictable. You just wouldn't understand. Like they are. Like behaviors of human beings are so predictable. So what it looks like on the surface is a knee jerk is her responding to a lack of congruence in her relationship, like without maturity, because that's the first thing. Because you go back to that child self that was initially traumatized or and disappointed by relationships, a best friend, a boyfriend, or whatever, and you do that first thing that comes to mind. Let me embarrass this person, and you don't think about how that looks on you. You know what I mean? They don't think about that until later on, much later on, when it's like, oh, well, my kids got a whiff of this, what's going on in our relationship, and I have to explain, or my family, and I have to explain, or I've decided to stay now, and now I have to explain to my following, because that's the biggest thing now, with people, because they really care about the thoughts of other people. The public, general public that don't know them really, but that's just kind of how that thing unravels. But it doesn't mean that something actually is going on. It's like they want to insinuate it so they can find some comfort in making the other person jealous or make them react or respond because they're really trying to pull them back in. When people are leaning out and you see that in the public, they're really not leaning out. They're really not leaning out. When people are ready to leave their relationships, it's a silent exit. You never know
That's a good point.
anything until it's already there. You never know anything. People thought they knew what was going on with Cardi B and Offset for the longest. And then they saw, some a series of events that happened so fast. And people like, well, how did they file for divorce so fast? Da, 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 da. That girl had already been leaning out for so long, it's insane. When she made her mind up, though, those divorce papers had already been initiated. So, and that's what I know. You understand? But the public didn't know when she made her mind up, when she initiated, getting the attorney to file for the divorce. They knew a half a year later. You see what I'm saying? So it's you don't know what's really going on in their relationship until they're ready and they have made some movements to make the exit. But the drama is kind of what comes first when they're still struggling with the decision.
yeah. The only thing about that, we can't go for speculation and what we don't know. We just got to go by the information that's out there. So we don't know what Steph is doing. We can't assume that he's doing something just because he hasn't spoke or there's no information that came up about him. We know for a fact what she's been saying out there. So we just got to go by that information. We just can't assume that Steph
Yeah.
is been
Right.
doing something.
So right, and that's a fair assumption. But what I'm saying is you can't say that we know either situation is happening. What I'm saying is like she's insinuating, or put it out there like that she's insinuating she wants other relationships, right? We can't say that that means that she really does want other relationships, or that she's made her mind up that she wants to leave him, or that she actually is having an affair. We can definitely call a thing and say, okay, she wants to piss off her husband, because that's whose attention she essentially is trying to get. She's not trying to get these people in the public. Nobody out here trying to get no random broke dude to start trying to do whatever just so he can be relevant. Yeah, because that's the reality. The guy that actually, jumps on that little bandwagon is the guy that wants to now be relevant, because nobody wants to follow Steph Curry. That's the reality. No formidable, respectable man wants to do that in the public while all this drama is going on.
Yeah, we got to
No,
go by her words, though. That's her words, though. We got to go by what she said. Whether she means it or not, that's on her. We don't know her mind, but we just got to go by what she said.
no, I mean Dr. Brown's assessment of like when people speak out, man, they have like that level of resentment, if something happened with them.
Yeah.
So that's true, but I think when it comes to Seth, I don't think that's the case, because like if he was messing around, that just the magnitude of the type of player he is, them females would have had tell-all books. They would have done like 50 interviews or on Gale Night.
Yeah, they're not keeping that a secret.
Yeah. So I think with her, I think it's more or less like I think she just wanted to be more relevant in like the corporate world. I think she saw herself doing more, and that didn't happen. And a lot of stuff that she got, kind of came from the relationship. And she's known as Steph's wife, and I think she didn't have an identity. So I think that's kind of why she has that resentment. That's pushing her to talk like that in public.
It could be just for attention too. And she don't really mean it. She's just doing it for the attention and get more recognition on her.
Yeah, but I don't see her as a dumb enough woman to actually be entertaining men that come as a result of her like advertising that she's looking for some dude to be on her arm, because like nobody's out here doing that. Nobody wants to be taken advantage of or used just for clout. Like, that's not a thing. But she didn't strike me as a dumb enough girl to do something like that. Now, if you said that Sexy Red was doing something like that, that's possible. Ayesha Curry, nah.
But it be those good ones sometimes though too.
Not looking for nothing. No, not in looking for something serious. So if Ayesha Curry ever, let's put the idea out there that this happened. Okay, let me let you know what it would look like. It would look like she'd wear a complete disguise and a mask and a COVID mask on top of it, meet in a location that has absolutely nothing to do with her or Steph, and they would get it done behind closed doors where that same mask was on the whole time and had a whole latex bodysuit, and she just cut the slit open to get some exposure to the main areas because she was just curious about what lied underneath his clothes. And then she'd leave in the same fashion. So it would be no way to identify it was her happening with him in that way. Wouldn't speak words at all. Like, just in case. You see what I'm saying? So it would be no way to insinuate that the possibilities of these things even happen.
Not with Takashi. That's what I said. I don't believe she said with Takashi. I don't believe
that's what I was saying. Takashi was a stretch.
But maybe a Drake or somebody like that. That's more likely. But I don't think she slept with Takashi. I don't agree with that part.
I definitely don't see a Drake.
I see a Drake. I can see Drake doing it.
I don't think Drake would, because Seth, I think he got some respect, but I do think somebody in Drake entourage.
Okay, yeah, and now that's a possibility.
But do you think sometimes there could be a dynamic of like, say, like there's a guy, he's super polished, and it kind of might be one of those things where she wants to, like I said, have a more prominent role where, it's like she was part of his development process. So maybe she's like, let me get my money, kind of cash out, because she gonna come out good where, maybe she could get into a new situation and have more, more
I don't
You know,
think
she's
that's
not
what it
known as
is.
like Seth's wife, type
But
of
see,
thing.
and that I like the fact that you brought that up, and I see this person's comment, right? So here's the thing, right? People struggle for individuation and identity confirmation, like at different phases of life, even if everything in their life is going right and they are framing their lives and putting their best efforts forward and doing all the things that they thought they'd do by this age, blah blah blah. It's called autonomy versus shame. It's a constant phase of life difficulty challenge that human beings face four times in a lifetime, right? Now, Ayesha Curry, the fact that this person would have to put something up, right, to educate the panel in their attempts, just in case they thought that I didn't know or we didn't know what it is that she has going on for herself. That is justification for her lack of personal validation as to who she is and what frames her image in the public. So the fact that anybody would have to teach who she is says that she is not relevant. You understand? On her own. And she still would be recognized as his wife. She could have 3,000 cooking shows. She could have branded merchandise. She still would be recognized as Ayesha Curry with the branded merchandise and cooking shows that is Steph Curry's wife. Like,
Oh,
because
okay.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything that she has is something that was developed after that initial identity was established in the media. So I don't think, I still think it is possible that she could be doing this stuff for attention and for relevance. But I also think, well, not think, but I know, like from a systemic, standpoint, these are two people who were in love early in life, high school sweetheart kind of situation. You understand what I'm saying? So they have gone through, at this point, three major identity crises with one another, right? They are still becoming. People in general are still becoming, but most people meet each other at an adult age and become, you know what I mean, as adults. These are two people that are evolving into the human being that they will be and are starting to navigate introductory adulting and active adulting phases of life together. They are growing apart. That's normal. They'll have different things that they're interested in. They may not like this version of the person that they are becoming, and they can't change it. Because again, people still have to have individuation even when they're collectively attached with someone. Now, the level of tolerance that would be there for someone who maybe met him as an adult and started developing with him, becoming with him, they may have a higher level of tolerance because they have a higher sense of self individually. They've gotten to know themselves separately, better than what Aisha has had a chance to do with herself and develop who they are, what they stand for, what they're interested in outside of relationships or their partner. So they've been together for a long time and they still don't know who they are in their becoming and whether or not these things are, in sync with one another. So it's a lot there. So you expect this kind of stuff out of their relationships. But it doesn't mean that they'll ever end,
So
you
you think
know?
it's more or less like like you said, the three uh what did you call it? The three levels are.
hmm Those phase of life difficulties.
So you're saying like because when they met each other, it was like high school sweethearts. So is
First
that like
major
one of the
identity crisis. First major identity crisis for human beings happened between the ages of 14 to 17.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. Then the next one, you don't get a lot of time to stabilize, right? The next one comes in, and then it's happening from the ages of 22 to 25. Then you don't
Okay.
get a lot of time to settle in. You have another one that happens between the ages of 29 and 31, where you're turning 30 and active adulting starts at 30. So you have, from those previous two phases, determine that you want to be this in life and you're going to get there by doing this in life. And then you evaluate how that went out, how it worked out for you. And, you know, kind of that kind of stuff. And then so you're sitting with the realities of the things that you told yourself then and whether or not you told yourself the truth based on your behaviors. Because you also have to understand that life is going to play a huge role, friends, a huge role, exposure, environment, right? To who you are shaping yourself up to be and whether or not you're able to keep those commitments to yourself. That's why when you get married early, which most people used to do back in the day, I come from that. But when you get married early, you have more struggles, and those relationships go through a lot more betrayal because you're basically growing up, maturing together, and then you are at an age where you can actually follow through on commitments.
Yeah, and then throw in there they have like 4 kids. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's a lot, and a lot of folks don't know. Like them kids typically come after when it's a struggle in a relationship.
But here go that girls trip photo. And look who has the smallest set of shorts on in this whole photo next to Champagne Poppy.
That's what I'm saying. Identity crisis. That's what it speaks.
Yeah,
Mm-mm-mm.
the girls trip already is a no. She shouldn't even be there.
What do you guys have against these girl trips? So do explain.
Why is your girl taking a trip without you?
It just depends who goes on a girls trip. So say like if my wife went with like her mom and her sister, I'm cool with that. But yeah, if she going with some
Nah,
stragglers like in this photo, that's a no go.
sophisticated jerk. They taking Snicker bars with their moms and their sister too.
I'm dead.
I'm telling you, man. What's her name? That's what Yandy did when Yandy when she
Yo,
cheated on
yo,
Medici. Then she go with her like
here's
her sister. She went with
yeah, she
something
went
like
out of
that,
town in London. Yeah, she stepped out in London. The old boy was from London, and the
and
only
she would
reason
go there.
why
And she
that
would meet a
information,
guy.
yeah, the only reason why Shorty told the truth is because she threw her gay best friend under the bus. So he came out and just told the truth off rip. You know what I mean?
Can't hear
Because
nothing.
it was affecting his relationship with his you know what I mean, his partner or whatever.
Mm.
Yo, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
I
I can
can
hear
hear
you.
you. Yeah.
I can't. It just went out.
But Dr. Jefferson Brown, do you you be going on girls trips?
No, that's not a thing. I'm 64. No,
Oh,
we
okay, okay.
that's not the kind of stuff that we did. It's not my
See,
thing.
exactly,
That's a middle
exactly.
age
So what
thing.
you fighting
But
for?
my
What you fighting
daughters,
for girl trip rights for?
but
You
my
don't even believe
daughters,
in it.
they do. They go on them and things.
They don't be dressing like Ayesha Curry like that though, do they?
Definitely not.
Okay,
Definitely,
see.
I
definitely
told
not.
y'all. I had an ex that went on the candy bar tour.
A candy bar too. I just this. Well, that's
Yeah,
interesting. That's what it is.
Every stop was a different candy bar.
Mm. So you don't know that. That's your assumptions based on what
No, I know it. Shoot, I found out, but I knew it
you
before because
you may have found out, but you didn't find out because you don't know.
yeah, I knew. But for one thing, once she said she wanted to go on the girls trip, it was over. So she wasn't even my girl then. So
Oh
it
yeah.
didn't really
He
affect me.
said once you going once you said you're going. Did you make that a boundary before you guys started the
Oh, that's
relationship?
always a boundary. Yeah, that's always a boundary. They know.
Okay.
If you ask, yeah, she wanted to mingle. Went on a girls trip, came back single.
Lord, I'm dead. Well, she was single before she went. If that were the case, if it's a
Yo,
boundary, that
here's
means
the
at the point
thing,
you do it.
like I myself,
Yeah. Once they
here's here's the thing,
once I can't hear Rush is talking. I can't even hear him. I'm gonna go out and come back in.
Hey, we seen how Stella got her groove back. You
uh,
know what be going on when they be going overseas. Stop playing
yeah,
Dr.
man, them
Jefferson.
girls trip, man. Yeah, man, like yo, we as a young, well, now I'm not young no more, but when I was a young man or whatever, like I would partake and witness these bird activities when they go on girls trips. So this is not something that we just imagining out the blue. This is what happens when a group of females tend to go out of town and take trips together. Like a lot goes down within those girls' trips. So yeah, it should be a boundary within the relationship when you dealing with your your lady or whatever, because like you bound to step out when you go on them girls' trips. So this is why I myself and Fame is not a big fan of girls' trips. You know what I mean? And plus, like I come from a nuclear family,
Wait, wait,
so my never witnessed
wait, Russ.
I never witnessed my mom's
My
go.
bad. I didn't mean to distract you,
Yeah.
Russ. There's people that are fans of that.
What happened?
Wait, you saying there's men that are fans of girl trips?
Yo,
You said
a
we not
lot
a
of people
fan.
is yeah. Yeah, we're not a fan of that. Like we totally against that.
Hell
But
no.
me as a shorty coming up, I've never witnessed my mom's go on a girl's trip. Never, never. So like that should be a boundary within the relationship, man. I mean, if your girl go on a girl's trip or your wife goes on a girl's trip, like that's a light bulb, man. Like something wrong. That's not cool at all. I mean, and that's just my personal perspective. I mean, I don't speak for everybody, but I'm just not cool with that. But yeah, like I done been around, so I know what go down with the girl trips, man.
So you've been over there. So
Word is
because you
born.
were over there participating or encouraging, or should I say, initiating the situation,
Rush, how you know about these
not the
girls
whole
trips, man? Was you
activity
a
happened.
participant?
So you feel, because you know that you've been the person.
So Dr. Jefferson Brown, we'll be going down
Listen,
on
man,
these
I'm a
girls
changed
trips.
man. I don't do those things no more. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I done been around, so I know what time it is, man.
But Dr. Jefferson Brown's the respectful lady she is. She says she don't even go on girls trips, and that's not what was going down on her time. So she don't agree with them either.
Well, it's not that I don't agree with them. I just um mm. Okay, so I don't come from a generation where women are so toxic. That and I say that because it's true. Right? This generation of women are extremely toxic, but so are the men. It's just a generational thing. There are a lot of things that happen, like I said, during my generation of people and the generation after, that make this generation feel like they're the women from my generation and the generation after are weaker women, because we, on the surface, it looks like we tolerated more than what a respectable woman might need to tolerate in a relationship. Now, I really don't know how to put this, but a woman is a very loud, silent partner in a sound relationship with a man. And I say that because we come from a generation where we believe our men are our representative leaders of our households. And so, because we don't really break that down and what that actually looks like in real time for people that are following that image, there are a lot of assumptions as to what the balance looks like in a relationship and what a woman's position is, and all that stuff. And so I just think it's the assumptions led to the toxicity, because the toxicity is as a result of the purview, and the purview isn't full, right? Because we haven't really given the intricate details of what goes on behind closed doors, which goes back to what I said earlier when I asked the question, do you think a woman should be able to speak negatively about her spouse, right? um because you guys say no, not in public. That was your first responses, and that makes sense, because in public, first of all, it's nobody's business what goes on in your relationship. That's a private thing. Why would you be marketing or advertising, right? But this is a very social media driven and social media influenced generation. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
So it's just, nobody has individuation. There is no, I know who I am, I stand for this and I stand for that, and that's it. In my generation, because we were those types of women, very, very strong opinions and very, very high sense of individuation, a girl's trip just is not going to go well. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not going to go well. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's not. You want to do what you want to do. I want to do what I want to do. You're here for this purpose. I'm here for this.
All right, I have a question.
Hold on, real quick. I got to give Dr. Brown her props. She's nice with the wordplay, but she pretty much, I'm gonna put it in layman's terms for y'all out there. Dr. Brown said we better than them 304s that's out here today.
Facts.
My God, I'm not saying that they're whatever.
She
I
said
mean,
they ain't
they
got nothing on
could.
us. We wouldn't be out here
They
like that, misrepresenting ourselves. I heard you.
yeah. It because appearance does matter. So how do I say, brown people, right? I don't say black. I say brown people because it's a lot of different dynamics to that. Have a different level of expectation as to how they are represented and how they are respected by other people in society, including themselves. You know, nowadays, when we were coming up, there is a respectability politic that goes along with you being a melanated person. And so image does matter. Like you couldn't go to the grocery store, look in a bonnet and your PJs. That wasn't a thing. Because somebody would think you're having a psychotic episode or something, for one. And for two, you're an embarrassment not only on yourself, but your family that you came from, then your spouse. It's a lot of levels to it. So image did matter. So it does matter what image you project in the public of the stability of your relationship, which again ain't nobody's business.
Yeah, that's why we need to bring back shame. There was shame back then. There's no shame no more.
Oh
But
no, they
famous, sorry
have
for cutting you
shame.
off, man. What
They
was that
have they
question you was
have
about to
shame,
ask?
but they have pseudo confidence though.
What happened?
No, I was saying I cut off your question. My bad. I
Oh,
know
my
you was.
bad. I was asking the I don't see a point in girls trips because why would you want to share that experience without your man if you're in a relationship? Why would you want to go away without your man in the first place? When you want to share that experience with him instead of without him? So I think there has to be a motive if you just want to go with your girls instead of your man.
Yeah, especially if you don't go on trips like a lot. Like if you're not super wealthy, it's like you know
You want to be
everything's got to be kind of limited on budget. So it's like why would you? Yeah, you're right, famous. Because yeah, I couldn't
so
see it.
yeah, you want to be without your man. You're in a relationship, but you want to be with your friends instead of your man. That doesn't make sense to me.
Or, I mean, it could just be that she wants to get away from mommying, and you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure she do. I'm sure. I'm sure she do. You free. That's freedom. That's a lot of freedom. Take a Snicker bar.
Oh, oh Lord, I
Like you
can't.
said, if you're hungry, why wait? Grab a Snicker bar.
Oh my God, I can't.
But Dr. Jefferson Brown, so like basically, because I know you don't be out there and stuff, and I like what you were saying. You was breaking down because yeah, it seemed like how y'all females grew up, y'all cared about the image of not just yourself but the family too. But based on like with females trips you heard, what they out there doing? Are they like going on these girls trips? They reading like Bible scriptures? They playing video games with each other, board games? What they doing on these girls trips?
I mean, they're sometimes they are out there. They're trying to live their best life. They're trying to find out what foreign guy they can find and that kind of thing. But there are some times that these girls are going on the girls trip for image purposes so that they can improve the social image amidst themselves. So there is an image that matters in this generation. It's just not the image that counts. That's what I'm saying. So they care about what they look like to one another, but they don't care about what they look like to what matters. That will be their children, their family, the people that put their hard blood, sweat, and tears into raising them into functional human beings. The people they're supposed to be representing as they continue and carry the torch forward for, right? The flame went out and did something else. So it's
That's
kind of,
perfectly said.
when I said that they don't have, that they do have shame, because they do have shame. That's why the suicide numbers are up so high. That's why the depressive rates are up so high. That's what depression is. It's internalized shame that's been oppressed by you, the representative self. And so they have it, but they have these pseudo confidences, and that's a false sense of security that tells them that they're right, they're justified in what they're doing, and they should be doing it because this, that, and the third. It doesn't make sense. But they don't have the proper mathematical equation to say what does or doesn't make sense. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're just doing what their friends say makes sense, or what society says make, or TikTok or Instagram. You know what I mean? It's it's what society says on a grand scale, that people behind computers, where you can't connect with this person. You don't know this person from Adam. It could be AI, but you're doing what these people say are right, and you're not taking in consideration what's right for your relationship and what's right for you, because you're not having those internalized conversations, and you're also not talking and negotiating contracts with your partner. So
Yeah, we
there
was
could
talking
be
about that
over.
last week. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. But that's the thing. And I'm glad you guys are having those conversations. You're overwhelmed because you don't have a sounding board. You're overwhelmed because you can't validate self. You're overwhelmed because you're trying to be or project an image that's not true. And you haven't even been true with yourself. You know what I mean? You gotta, even if you're gonna put a false sense of something up, right? The first thing is what I tell people: you got to be personally congruent. You got to have a conversation with your own parts. Get you together. You know what I mean? And be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, you don't, forget lying to everybody else, but you're not even gonna be authentic and true to yourself, right? So you're gonna feel worse and worse and worse. So your representative self
Well,
is changing.
here's the thing, yo, Doc. Most dudes, they're not comfortable, expressing certain things to their lady because if they show any form of weakness, it may uh, influence the female to monkey branch to a better situation. In laying terms, what I'm saying is like, yo, if your woman feels as if you can't perform because of whatever situation that you're going through, she's not gonna empathize with you. She's gonna look for she's gonna in the back of her head, she's gonna bank on another man, which is more dominant and stronger and that works on stealth mode than the current dude she's dealing with. That's why a lot of females is known to have a lot of beta orbiters and backup dudes because at some point they may feel like, and that's why they do the whole shit test because they want to see if you official or not. So that's why most men are not going to keep it. But and I advise men never be honest with your woman to that extent because it will cost your relationship or marriage. You know what I mean?
I agree with Rush. They gonna be like, this dude soft.
Yeah.
Well, see, it's not even about your woman at that point. So here's the thing, right? And I get what you're saying. But you got to understand what you're saying, the context of it, because essentially the underlying piece is you're promoting self incongruence. So you're telling a man to show up as inauthentic in his relationship, and believe it or not, men do control access to relationship, but also the depths in which relationships have a tendency to mature. If a man is not one with himself, if he is not honest with himself, if he's not true with himself, he cannot be of use to a good woman. He cannot create a wholesome woman,
Let
even if
me
he has
interject
all
with
the
that.
good working bones in it. Like, he can't do that,
Let me
because essentially the way you show up as a man models the behavior for the woman who will follow you. And a woman will not follow you until she sees that you're worthy of being followed. It's kind of that piece where it's just like, so I think that you guys understand better when I mention children more so than a woman, because in y'all mind you really think that the shell of heart, outer inner appearance that women put up with this in this generation. I don't need a man, blah blah blah. You think that that's real, but with children, you guys are more palatable when it comes to the way that you condition ones that follow. So if you had a child, blank slate conditioning, you're a man. What is your job? A child, 2 years old, 2 year old little boy looking up to daddy.
You said, what is our job to that kid?
Mm-hmm.
I would say the main one is like, helping them develop and, kind of like leading by example. Then also, you got the protection element, with that 2-year-old child. So, of course, you can't teach too much, but like I said, it's kind of setting that environment for them since they're in them younger phases.
Okay. Fame,
I say the same thing: protect, provide, lead by example, and just steer them in the right path in life.
Rush.
All right, here's the thing, right? Same thing what
But
Fame and Jerk just said, but in all reality, whenever a child is born as an infant, and it's majority, and this is why it's important to find a good woman, a trustworthy woman to raise a child, because the first 10 years of the child's life is being influenced by the mother. Now, I mean, now as
Mm-mm.
the child is
No,
fully
that's
developed,
incorrect. Only the
hold
actual
on.
only years that are influenced by the mother heavily are the first year and a half, 18 months. That's the only time that is actually directly influenced by the mother. And it's actually not even an effort
Yeah,
that she has to
well,
put
I
forth.
mean, well,
Everything
let me
else is
revise
based
that
on
statement. Now,
observation, environment.
if you're
I think as a
dealing
man,
if
you
you're
instill
dealing
the
with a
wisdom in go ahead, Rush.
right, okay, yes, it depends on the man. Like if he's a go getter, he's working like 7 days a week, putting in like 100 hours a week. Then yeah, like it might sway into that direction where the mother is spending majority of the time with the child. That's why it's important to find a good woman to raise a child, because if your woman or wife is a thief, a grimy person, that child will adopt this trait and probably mimic that style. Know what I mean, because the father's out making the money. But yes, you're right. And the year and a half when the child is being developed in this infant stage, yeah, it's gonna be with the mom just for the year and a half, and it depends on the father on how it depends on the father's occupation, on how involved he is with the um with raising a child. I mean,
But see, not really, because that's what I'm
I
trying to
think
get you to understand. Classic condition, even conditioning. So there is a concept that is attachment trauma, right? Initial attachments with the child and caregiver is mom to child. And that's typically, in that first 18 months, they're learning from the mother's relationships with other people as to whether or not they can trust and what trust looks like, and whether they can bond and what bonding looks like. That's also with dad. Now, after that initial skin to skin and the bonding, internal bonding with mom, they're connected to her emotions for 18 months, just her emotions, not their own. They're then comparing her emotions to their emotions after 18 months. The incongruences they've seen in the relationship with mom and dad, the way that she talks to him, speaks to him versus what they know she feels, because they're still connected in that way, almost just like the umbilical cord connected to them. However, they're disconnected because they start to be taught by environment. They start to be taught by behaviors that they're seeing mimicked and modeled for them. And so, fathers being present, and even though you mentioned the father that's working 100 hours a week and he has barely any time for his own kid or his own family or his own self, right? That is still modeling behavior. It's those fathers that take out 2 minutes, dog tired, getting off work, eyes red. Those children will remember those memories at 3 years old, even.
That's what
They'll
I was about to
still
say.
they'll remember, and they'll say my dad was a hard working man. But that also sets the tone for that son. Regardless of what they see mom do, and mom could go out and be a crackhead. That's the reality. And that kid's growing up around her every single day. You see that child retaliate in ways that are unfounded, unprecedented, because they still have the core conditioning and that exposure to the hard work, dedication of dad, because dad's very emotionally present, though he's physically absent. So I asked that question because I need you guys to understand the model, the mold that you said, even for your woman, is that the same? It's the same as that for the child. Naturally, a woman will follow the lead of a man who is confident in himself, who is assertive in himself, who is self-validating. And so that also means that you have to validate your emotions. A woman is meant to be your emotional guide or compass. She's meant to be your safe place. However, she has to be put in a position to do that. You have to give her the authority to be that, but you also have to be the leader in showing her what that looks like. So when you show her that it's okay for you to mask, for you to not be continuously vulnerable with her, for you to not show her all the parts of you, you show her incongruence that now develops in your relationship.
Yeah, that's what I always say. It's ultimately up to the man because the man instills wisdom in a woman to share with the children.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you some pushback, Doc. Like, it's not wise for a man to open up with his wife that to that degree. You know what I mean? Like, because like she's gonna question your leadership. You know what I mean, this is why I advise dudes, right? Like to have be close with your father. Have a group of friends that you can confide in because the things that you confide with your close friends and father, they're gonna understand and not judge you for that. You know what I mean? But whenever you open up with a
Oh, they're
female,
gonna
man,
judge you. They're gonna judge you. Otherwise, they won't be able to listen. They won't be able to hold space. They just may not
I
share
mean,
those judgments with you.
Russ,
You'll
yeah,
can
be
I
but
piggyback
judged
off of what you're
to,
saying a
to,
little?
by
to,
listening.
to share that kind of information with your woman, she's gonna look for a better option because in her eyes, the way she's gonna interpret your weakness is like, yo, like I gotta look for a dude that's more thorough than him because he's not cutting it right now. And that's just a harsh reality. That's why most dudes don't feel comfortable sharing dark secrets with their women because it always backfire. I say about
Yeah, that means they
99.9.
don't trust. No, that means they don't trust themselves because it's a man who finds the woman, not a woman who finds the man. It's a man who chooses her. So if he chose that woman and he doesn't feel comfortable with confiding in that woman, guess what? He don't trust himself. That's a deeper issue. And that's the thing. Like as men, that's what I mean by being personally congruent. You have to have the parts conversation with yourself. Like which part of me feels like trusting a woman would be bad for me? Where have I seen in this particular relationship that this is not yielding the type of outcomes that I would want for my relationships or want for myself or want for my kids one day? And why in the hell did I pick her versus a million other women that I could have chosen where I may have felt more comfortable?
I
I
think you're
don't think
having two
it's
different conversations. You're saying because when Russ said not tell her fully true, you talk about emotionally sharing your feelings or just trying to manipulate. Because I think it's two different conversations.
well. I mean, there's some guys that do fall in that room. What she talking about? But I do think there's guys that like what Rush is saying because I fall in that category where it's like, man, It's almost like if you're a thinker, you like solving problems. So it's like before I go tell anybody anything, I like sitting with them thoughts and I like putting a solution in place. So that way it's like if I'm coming to you, I'm be like, hey man, this is what happened, but here's how I'm gonna put everything on course. So I think there's a good portion of people that, they just don't they want to sit in them thoughts and put the solution in place. So I think sometimes it might come off like people are not trying to be vulnerable. It's just like, nah, I want to be able to solve problems. Because it's one of those things like sometimes, man, if you go to somebody and you don't have the solution in place, they could start panicking. They have anxiety. It could
Yeah,
kind of
but
throw
that's
you off a little bit. So I think that's why sometimes, like with me, I'm not going to go there and be
but that's the
vulnerable
thing.
like that.
But see, it's not you going to your woman for to be the solution. And that's the part that I was talking about, where you guys, y'all generation kind of missed the mark, because it's really us as the parents, I'm not gonna lie, because essentially we were supposed to lay that all out for the women. At least the women are, that's the charge of a woman, and then the charge of a man is to lay that all out as to how it is that he consults with his wife, appropriately. But the thing is, that looks like learning to be vulnerable with self first. So when you say you're sitting with yourself and you're sitting with some thoughts before you present it to someone else, that's a normal part of the process. When you go to your wife, you're supposed to be sitting, hey, this is where, I am. These are some of the things that I'm struggling with right now. But here are some of my thoughts as to how I can resolve it. Not this is what I'm going to do, and then it's not that you haven't made your mind up, because oftentimes you have, but you're inviting her into the conversation just in case there is something of substance from her external point of view that she has to offer to expand your point of view. And then she leaves the decision making with you either way. Like, there is a give and take. Once you are vulnerable with a woman fully and you give her the full picture, it tells her that you trust her. And it makes her trust you more to make the decisions and to lead the ship into sail. Like, I think as men, you guys have got to be more confident in your choices, because you got to be more selective when you choose.
No, but I think that lane is still open. Cause like if I come like that, then, I think people understand who you are. So like, if I present it to my wife, she'd be like, hey, have you thought about that? Cause my wife is a smart woman like you. So, she could jump in there like, hey, you ever thought about this? And I'm like, nah, I ain't think about that angle. So the lane's still open. It's just like, we
It's just the
just,
language.
yeah,
Because
there you go.
Right. But see, that's the thing though, and it shows that you're mature but also confident as a man when you've chosen to be in a relationship with someone that led to marriage. Like, the thing is, some men are not ready for marriage. And that's what I tell people. Like, if you think in along the lines that you have to, there are pieces of me that I cannot let my partner know about. If there is ever a thought, like, if that's the way you think, you should never be married to someone. You're not ready.
No,
That
because
means
I just think
you're
the emotional
personally
part. I think is
incongruent.
that what you talk about, Rush? Like
Yeah, it's
we
called
can't be coming
emotional
there
intelligence
whimpering,
though.
like,
Well, it's not about whimpering, right? So it's emotional intelligence driven. So it's saying that it's not about
Yeah,
how you
man, you
display your
can't. Nah, you
emotion. It's
can't do
how
that
you are
because
displaying some emotion.
she's going to question your leadership, bro. Like, never, you can't trust a woman to that degree. You know what I mean? Because it's gonna backfire. I promise you that it's gonna backfire. You know what I mean? But as doc, as a a clinical doctor or whatever, she may have a different perspective from my opinion on that. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's just because I see what happens when people think like you and they end up in my chair. But the thing is, like, I see what happens to their relationships, and I know the work that I have to do to reconstruct the mindsets of those people to help them get to a more healthier level of relating with their partners and grow. Because what you don't know is that this is what leads oftentimes to the cheating. Remember, I said there is emotional cheating as well. There is emotional betrayals. That's what women oftentimes take as, he must be doing this or doing that or doing this and doing. Now, I'm not going to say that sometimes they haven't been right, because sometimes they've been right, but there are several hundreds of cases where I've seen that women have been wrong. It's just that the man entered into a marriage before he was ready to enter into a marriage. Now, it doesn't mean that he wasn't ready for that woman. It just means that he himself had not aligned his own parts, had that self conversation like, hey, listen, this is where I want to go in life. This is how I want to get there in life in general. And this is the capacity in which I want to share with another person. You understand? Until a man has those types of self reconstructive conversations, he really can't fully offer himself to someone else because he doesn't have his own game plan. And so he can't go in and expect to be vulnerable, even to pop the question. Because how the hell you going to ask somebody to marry you and you don't even know if you qualified to marry somebody? You don't know if you got what it takes. You don't know if, what it is that you're doing is going to move into the direction. You don't know if she's going to say yes. Like, it's those guys who have like those self-doubts. Like, what if she really ain't feeling me as much as I think? Or, she ought to be married. She ought to be glad that I'm asking to marry her. Like, this, it's some crazy thoughts that go on in some of these guys' head, okay? To juice them up to asking the questions when they're not really ready to pledge themselves to a relationship, but they know they got like certain a number of years that they think before they're gonna die. Because a lot of men out here think they're gonna die before 30. A lot of them think they're gonna die by the time they're 50 because their dad died when he was 45. Like, it's a lot of trauma out here in men.
Let me ask a question real quick because I got to roll out soon. So, Dr. Jefferson Brown, based on what you've seen, what would you say is like the ideal age for people to get married so they could be mature?
So I don't think that there is an ideal age. I think emotional maturation comes with experience, tenure, and your ability to learn from that, right? Learn and grow maturation. And some people I've seen that happen as early as 20 years old. And some people I've seen that happen as late in life as 45 years old. So again, I say it's the models that have been set before these men and these women that lets them know this is how a successful or healthy relationship goes, right? And this is how a healthy or successful relationship grows. So it's how they've been, geared to understand their own selves and their individuation and what it looks like for them to pair themselves with someone else. Like, you have to have the inner workings of potential greatness. So not greatness in and of itself, but potential greatness when you decide to marry somebody and you want that thing to last for a lifetime because, you want it to be conducive. Human beings come out of marriages, children. And you want them to be healthy enough to pair themselves with somebody else instead of being a part of the statistics and, a YN or, 304 as you call it. But the thing, like, you don't want to put that, you don't want to be conditioning those people for the world that you have to essentially grow old in. Because if those people are what you're conditioning and everybody else is doing that too, guess what? That leads to ill-equipped people in the White House running the country. You understand? Like, you gotta make wise choices. That's what I'm telling people. Like, you gotta make wise decisions because one day, your kids may have to be the leader of the world that we live in. You don't even know it. You may never see it in them. But one day they may be the person that's running for office, and you might be the person that's confident that Social Security gonna be protected and whatever it is that you're at that point in your life leaning on and things like that. You might have to be the person that is dependent on your child to be the white hope of the world. And you want to be confident that the job that you've done in preparing them for this world that they live in, we have to function in, that we're growing in, you have to be confident that what you've, conditioned inside of them is indicative of good emotional intelligence, sound moral intelligence, and ethical, upbringing, like all of that.
All right. Well, I got to roll out, y'all, man. Good conversation. And Dr. Jefferson, I like how you said brown people. You must have thought I was miscellaneous out here. So shout out to you.
Good God. Brown people, you barely scratching the surface, but I'm right there with you. So
she was like, jerk look a little miscellaneous over there. She was like, she played it safe. I caught that.
It's gonna be a rough one. You never know. You know what I'm saying? We come in all different shades. We all need to be included and count.
All right, y'all. Peace, man.
All right.
Yeah, man. I guess we hit the hour mark, so I'm gonna kill this live. Let me get everybody's last words. starting off with fame, man.
Nice meeting you, Dr. Jefferson. It was a good live. Um, you know where to find me at the Real Famous on Instagram, Famous Hip Hop on YouTube, and go shop at the Sucker Free Games Spotify, Shopify. Go get your merch.
Okay, well, you guys can find me and my podcast pretty much anywhere there are podcasts listed. Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson and Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson and Friends, and Love and Intimacy as well as a separate podcast I have for people that are trying to establish true intimacy with themselves and other people. It's been good, been real, having this conversation with you guys.
Thank you so much for coming through, Doc, and thanks, Fame, for holding it down as usual, man. It's your boy Rush. This show's officially over. Seek wisdom, practice humility, and always remain sucker free. You heard? I'll
Stay
catch y'all in the
sucker free.
flip.
Give a simple robot.
Ha ha! One.
One.
Later, Doc.